It's my pleasure now to introduce the first of our keynote speakers for this afternoon. Craig James's current role is as Chief Equities Economist for Commonwealth Securities, interpreting the big picture, if you like, on economic and financial trends for customers, for clients and also for staff. And we, the general public, are also privy to his insights through a range of media commitments, as well as his both regular and ad hoc commentaries and topical reports on matters of market interest. In 2002, Craig had a slight change and did a stint at the Australian Financial Review, interpreting economic and financial trends. And prior to that role, he was the chief economist at both Colonial and Commonwealth Securities. He's been working in banking, finance and journalism for the past 27 years. And to speak on the big picture this afternoon, would you please welcome Craig James.
Thank you very much. Well, I certainly won't be as entertaining in terms of the jugglers that we've had beforehand. I hope, though, you're going to get plenty of information out of the session that I've got today. Yes, I represent CommSec, or so the bigger parent, the Commonwealth Bank, which can be a little bit of a challenging thing when you're talking to a small business audience, because in the current environment, some of the small businesses aren't overly happy with the bank, so it can be a little bit challenging. I suppose it could be worse. It could be the Prime Minister talking to a Collingwood audience. That could be even more challenging. You may have seen that the other night, where one of the interviewers up there in the Brisbane Broncos asked her to become an honorary member of the Brisbane Lions, and she declined. She said, "I'm a Western Bulldogs fan." She said, "Perhaps we can unite and all hate Collingwood together." It's an interesting thing to say. I think she probably regrets that now. She's lost something like 90 to 100,000 people. Certainly, as an economist, I understand things about challenging things. I understand about being hated. So for me, it's not a problem. So today, I've worn the St Kilda team tie. Now, you've already hated me up to now. Some of you will actually like me after this. So I thought I would wear it. Look, we haven't won the premiership for over 40 years, so give us a chance. Give us a chance. So some of the Richmond supporters, I know, we've got yellow and black up here, sort of may not be good in terms of the colours today. So but I'm hoping for a St Kilda victory, not just this weekend, but to win the flag. A number of you in the audience must say at the moment you're looking at the current conditions in the economy, and people are telling you, well, this is the recovery period. This is the period that we're actually doing well and the economy is growing. And I think a lot of you are looking at your businesses and you're saying, this is the period. This is the period we're actually doing well. We're going forward. A lot of you are probably looking back 12 months ago and saying, now that's the time we were doing well, when interest rates were super low, the government was handing out cash, stuffing it in our pockets, where we had the tax breaks, where we had the stimulus for the housing sector, you name it. It doesn't seem as though now that we're actually doing a whole lot better than what we were 12 months ago. Certainly if you have a look at the data, you look at what our major trading partners have done, we've had a V-shaped recovery in the global economy over the last 12 months. And most people would say, isn't that good? And we've had a recovery. Of course, the Reserve Bank wasted no time in lifting interest rates. No sooner had people declared the global financial crisis over, the Reserve Bank said, oh, well, you're not going to have these interest rates at 50-year lows forever. We're going to start putting them up to more normal levels. There's always going to be challenges with the economy. You're going to have a period of time like 12 months ago where people were so worried about the global environment, where it was going. Now we're looking at the current situation and saying we've got different challenges about consumers and how they're spending, challenges about interest rates. And there's always going to be challenges, but the message of my story today is the fact that he who hesitates is lost. We can easily take any sort of environment to be able to say, well, look, there's not a lot I can do in this sort of environment. I'm going to sit on their hands. A lot of people have said, we're in an election at the moment. I can't do anything. You say, well, why can't you do anything? So it's an election. Things could change. So we could have a change of government. So, well, what is going to fundamentally change if we have Labor in again, or if we have the coalition? Oh, probably not a lot, but it's uncertainty. So we can use a lot of excuses to be able to say there's not a lot we can do about the environment. I think the smart businesses, the smart operators are always looking for the opportunities, no matter what the environment is. So in terms of the presentation today, you're fortunate. You've only got me for 15 minutes today. Sometimes some people ask me to speak for an hour, and I don't have juggling before it. Imagine that as a challenge. But I'll go through the presentation today, look at the global economy, look at where we're sitting at the moment, and then wrap up with things like the share market and interest rates. Oh, of course, I'll go back and I'll show you the little cartoon. Some people will say that's me. Probably is. I'm hoping I've done something about the paunch, though, over the last 12 months. But some of you may feel like that at the moment, that we've had this wonderful recovery. Then you look at interest rates and you say, well, is this a recovery? Now, before I go too much further, the wonderful compliance people at the Commonwealth Bank asked me to put up this slide whenever I speak. It basically says, look, I haven't whipped around the room, I don't know your own personal circumstances, so the information today is very much of a general nature. Now, take a good 2-3 seconds to take all that information in. I think that's been about enough. Let's get on to the main story. The big issue that's confronting the economy around the world at the moment, or analysts around the world at the moment, is the United States going to see a double-dip recession? Is it going to go back into recession? Well, I can let you in on a secret here. It's never been out of recession. So actually, the question is misquoted. According to the dating committee, it sounds like an economic matchmaking committee, doesn't it? But they've got a dating committee in the US, dating recessions and recoveries. And according to that dating committee, the US economy hasn't come out of recession yet. We think that's very much of a technical type committee. Certainly we are seeing a degree of recovery, but it's our view that the United States won't go into a recession, won't see another downturn, for the simple reason is that financial markets have healed, the banks are back up in good shape, companies are making money. The only uncertainty that we're seeing at the moment in terms of the job market. Now back to the slides. You don't want to see me. You definitely don't want to see me. The other focus around the world at the moment is China. And who would have thought 5 years ago, 7 years ago, we here in Australia would be talking so much about China, or they'd be talking so much around the world. But that certainly is one of the big issues at the moment, sort of what China is likely to do. Here in Australia, the big focus is what's the economy likely to be doing over the next couple of months, the remainder of this year and in 2011, because the stimulus is being withdrawn. So the Reserve Bank's lifted interest rates. We've had the government reducing some of its stimulus in the economy, building the education revolution. A lot of those public primary school type activities are getting completed. Of course, a lot of people didn't get what they wanted in the first place, but so at least the work is nearing completion.